All right, so we're going to solve this one using synthetic division. On the test, I'm going to be nice and tell you what to divide by, but I also want to show you how you might approach this on the SAT. Sometimes they don't tell you this factor. So this is a potential factor. So when we use synthetic division, if they give it to us like this, then we say m minus 9 equals 0, right? Because the factors would eventually be set equal to 0 to solve. So then I solve for m. So I would add 9 to both sides. That's step 1. So when I go to do my synthetic division, right, what happens is I'm going to put my 9 up here for my synthetic division. Remember that we need a column for each power of the variable. Oops, got one too many humps on that m. All right, and then we just put the actual the coefficient. So there's a implied 1 in front of the m cubed, so we put the 1 there. There's a negative 18 in front of the m squared, so we say negative 18. There's a positive 75 in front of the m to the first power. And then there is a positive 54 all by its lonesome. And so I'm going to put the signs. We got to start thinking of these numbers as being positive or negative, even though we're adding and subtracting. My math professors would lose their minds. But it helps high schoolers keep track of your math operations if you think that way. Actually, it was one of my college professors that recommended that to me when I was learning this stuff. But now that's how you set up the problem. But sometimes they don't tell you this stuff. Sometimes they'll say solve this. So what we need to do then is plug that in our calculator. So get out your fancy calculators and turn them on. Now the roots and zeros are solutions. They're all the same thing. All right. And basically what we're looking for is where this crosses the x-axis. The 0 is where, in other words, if I were to solve this, if this said solve, and we'll do some solving problems today, if I were to say solve this, whoops, usually we want it to look sort of like this, and it would be set equal to 0, and we would say solve. And then we go through this long process where we do division and then we factor and all that stuff. We're not doing that today, but I do want you guys to see something. So see this button right here that says y equals? You guys see that? Click on that. Now your calculators are used by a lot of math classes, so you might have some stuff in there. You know how to clear that out? This button right here that says clear. So go ahead and clear everything out. Now I don't have an m, well actually I do, but the graphing calculator will only graph with x. So wherever I see an m over here, I have to put an x. So this is the x button. And do you guys remember how we put stuff in superscript? What's that button called? It's called the caret symbol. It's this one right here above the division symbol. All right, so you put that there. I'm going to plug in a 3. Now, you got to keep looking at your calculator to make sure you get out of the superscript. By the way, I'm looking around. You guys take out your earbuds, put your cell phones away. Then I'm going to put minus 18. Instead of m, I'm going to put x. Hit the caret symbol again. Do my little 2. Hit the right cursor. Hit the right arrow to get out of there. Then I'm going to say plus 75. But instead of m, I hit x. Plus 54. So you should see something like this on your calculator. Now if you have a really old calculator, it might look like this. Oh, hold on, let me show you what it might look like. You might see something. Oh no, it still left it in there. Dang it. That's interesting. Huh. Anyways, that's what it'll look like on most of your calculators. Some of you guys, it'll have the little arrow symbol before the 3, but that's okay. You guys have that entered in? Now, who in here remembers how we can kind of get the graph to fit in the window? What's the button we would hit? Does anybody remember? Well, it has to do with zoom. Remember, these top 5 buttons have to do with graphing. So see this button zoom right here? If you click on that, it gives you a bunch of options. When I don't know what the graph is going to look like, I start with zoom fit. Now, if I hit a 0, it'll do the zoom fit, or if I hit enter, it'll do the zoom fit. And basically, the calculator figures out the range and the domain for the graph and tries to fit it in the window so I can see what's going on. Okay? Now, notice over here I have a 9. What that tells me is that my graph will probably cross over here at 9. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means it probably crosses right there at 9. Now, one way to check for sure is if I hit trace, hit the trace button, which is right there, highlighted in red, and then I just simply enter in 9. So now what this does is it tells the calculator, go on the graph to where x equals 9, and then tell me what the corresponding y value is. What point is on the graph when x equals 9? So if I hit enter, see how that says y equals 0? So I'm going to take a little screenshot of that. Now the reason I'm showing you this is if you do the SAT and it asks you to, you could do a bunch of work and you think you have the right answer, but if you just graph it, you'll know if your work is right. In other words, if you solve this and you say x can equal 2, x can equal -4, x can equal 9, you graph it and it crosses in all those spots, then you know you have the right answer. Okay. So I'm just going to put this here. I want you guys to sketch that in your notes. Remember, that's going to be helpful because the only thing you're going to be able to use tomorrow is the graphing calculator and your examples. Okay. Maybe we should highlight, write it a little bigger. It doesn't have to be perfect. Make sure you draw the x-axis. Make sure you draw the y-axis, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But the main thing we want to know is that this thing is going to cross at 9, 0. So that's one of the zeros. That's one of the solutions. Okay? All right, back to the synthetic division. I'll give you a second to finish sketching the graph. Does anybody remember what the first step in the synthetic division is? What's the first thing we do? Does anybody know? We're going to drop the 1 down. What's the next step? Remember, I'm going to multiply the 9 by the 1. So then this becomes 9 times 1 is 9. Add those up. Negative 18 plus 9 if you're not good with this. If you're not good with positive and negative numbers, I'm just going to say negative 18 plus 9. I get negative 9. So I'll put that right there, negative 9. What's negative 9 times 9? That's easy. I'm just going to plug that in the calculator. Times 9. Negative 81. That goes right here. Negative 81. And notice that I can just enter in the next operation on the calculator. In other words, if I want to add that to 75, if I hit plus 75, the calculator will say answer plus 75. Well, the answer was negative 81, so I can just keep adding these. I can just do the next step on the calculator. Okay. So that's negative 6. What am I going to do with the negative 6? Whoops. The negative 6 I'm going to multiply by 9. So I've got negative 6, I'm going to multiply that by 9. Negative 54. What's negative 54 plus 54? 0. So that's my remainder of 0. Now remember, this is m cubed, and we are technically dividing by m to the first power, so this power drops down 1. So it should be 1m squared. This drops down 1, which is 1m. So our final answer is m squared minus 9m minus 6. Whoops, wrong thing. And that's it, synthetic division.